It looks like they are ready to roll, so we're going to head down and check out Steve Locke versus Charles Martin Jr. All right. And Steve looks like he's off to the races with turn one vial. It looks like, they're getting set back up. Okay.
Yep.
So
Players had already started. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate to make the players move at this point, but we wanted to make sure that we were featuring a new player this round with Steve Locke and Charles Martin. Charles Martin, what did we say, 12th on the leaderboard, right?
Yeah, 12th on our leaderboard here in the Nerd Rage Gaming Championship Series, and it's substantial to be at that point here, midway through the year, roughly.
Yeah.
People are getting, people are punching their tickets, and some of the higher people than him have already punched their ticket to our end of the year tournament, our championship, and Charles is in pretty good shape with people above him being in, and he's within striking distance to get there, maybe just in an at-large bid, or he's 3-0 today, maybe he wins today and punches his ticket,
Yep. So Steve, this is kind of the second time today we've seen the lead on Horizon Canopy, which usually means that they're a little land light. Does look like Steve has another land, though.
Nice.
Named Human.
All right, champion of the parish into Thalia. It's a good start.
That's a pretty good start. Thalia not at her best in this matchup. There aren't a whole lot of non-creature spells going around.
Yep.
But First Strike can be relevant.
Now, these guys in their main deck, so Charles is electing to play the 2 Resto Angel. Is Steve doing the same?
He is, yeah.
Okay. I know that was kind of a point of contention within the list, is where you're playing Restoration Angel, or there was other cards. I can't remember what else they were kicking around for a little while, but...
So some interesting kind of differences is that Steve has 1 copy of Plains.
Okay.
But with 4 copies of Canopy, and Charles has 2 copies of Plains with 3 copies of Canopy.
Interesting.
But the rest of their deck's pretty much identical.
All right, here comes the freebooter for Charles, and
again, not a great card here.
No.
Other than getting a counter on his champion.
The champion, yeah. All right, so you get to see Steve saying his Reflector Mage. I believe it's Ancient Ziggurat and a Restoration Angel. So
all great cards.
Yeah, very good here. Yeah, Steve's going to be able to really smash in here with a 3rd land. And
yeah, he has the 3rd land Reflector Mage. Reflector Mage on the Champion of Parish seems really good because you don't care about Kitesail Freebooter
at all.
And if you can keep his champion down, you're in good shape. Now, Charles does have a copy of Meddling Mage, and obviously knowing the contents of Steve's hand, that helps him out a lot.
Pretty good, yeah.
And the problem is if he doesn't deploy the Reflector Mage this turn and then gets Meddling Mage, he doesn't really have a way to get the Meddling Mage off the field.
I believe he has a 2nd copy of Reflector Mage in hand as well.
Oh, wow, that's really good because this Meddling Mage is likely to name Restoration Angel.
Yes, almost certainly.
That he can't play Resto, blink Reflector Mage.
Yep.
But the 2nd copy of Reflector Mage is just going to be good.
Yeah, this start by Steve is real good.
Was it? I think it might have just been a land. Land Angel.
Oh, it's Land Angel? Okay.
I think so, which is still good.
Okay.
And if Charles's turn is just to play Meddling Mage this turn,
yeah,
that's
not
just
great.
Not a lot of toughness or power on the board.
Yeah, not great. He's pretty far behind on the board here, and this Champion of the Parish is going to get going real quick. So, Charles cannot play this. He cannot play that. Yep, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Steve caught that.
So it's just going to be Meddling Mage?
I think... Yeah, Viola ultimately beats Meddling Mage, right? But it does prevent him from putting the Restoration Angel down next turn.
Yeah, Charles has the Aether Vial, but that's just like way too late to the party at this point. I assume they're going to name Restoration Angel. We'll get confirmation from our table judge.
Yeah, and
they're going to write it down, bless them.
Steve is definitely the kind of person, like, even if this wasn't on feature, he would have wanted it written down.
All right. Looks like that says Restoration Angel on there. Let's see what Steve decides to do here. If he decides to pump this vial up. Yep, up to 3.
Yeah, I mean, you already have 3 lands in play.
And if he hits a Reflector Mage here.
You can play Mantis Rider.
So, I mean, he has another draw step hanging out here with this, with the Horizon Canopy. It's pretty good.
Right.
It's a Phantasmal Image. Oh,
Wow.
that's pretty good with a Reflector Mage.
Pretty good with Reflector Mage.
Wow. Phantasmal Image is just a card. This deck didn't play Phantasmal Image in the beginning, which was the most egregious mistake of all time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this was actually really smart by Steve. He actually left open the Ancient Ziggurat so he could play Phantasmal Image, because right now he only had Cavern, and then he had just played the Uncharted territory naming Human.
Is this a 7? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, actually. All right, well, Charles says, you know what? I am so far behind, I am dead.
He has to draw land. He can only play 1 spell a turn, maybe 2. That's probably just not enough.
Well, Steve Locke going to win a very quick game 1 there against Charles Martin.
Steve's a really good player at identifying a board and knowing when am I the aggressor, when am I the control player, when are we at parity.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there it's pretty obvious, right? He's only got 2 lands. You're Reflector Maging two times.
Yep.
You're the aggressor. But it's definitely something Steve is very, very good at.
Okay, here we go. We have a mirror.
Yep.
And I'm trying to decide in my brain which cards are bad in the mirror, and I really, truly can't think of anything that's terrible here.
The first one is Thalia.
Okay.
Thalia
okay, I could buy that.
Yep. I will say this. I don't have a ton of reps with this deck, so I could be wrong, but I would assume that Thalia, just being a 2/1 first striker, is not enough.
Okay.
All the cards that grow, because this is a primarily creature matchup, you definitely want those.
Yeah.
So those are staying in.
Gotcha.
I think you want the Aether Vials because you want to deploy faster than your opponent, and you want to get around Meddling Mage if you can. Meddling Mage is potentially another card that could come out.
Okay.
Just because of the existence of Vial in the decks. What comes in?
Yeah, this is tough. So, like, both of these guys have almost identical sideboards. I feel like the gut shots are good, but I could be really wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like the gut shots hit a lot of things before they grow out of control.
Right.
I don't know if it's good enough. I just don't know where else you're bringing it in other than against, like, Affinity.
Right.
I feel like it's probably good here. Like, Auriok Champion is just nonsense. Damping Sphere, not good. Daredevil's probably not good enough.
Dismember's good.
Dismember's good. Kataki's no good. Staticaster's terrible.
Staticaster
Rexage is
could take out their mana, but that's it. Yeah, I don't like that
Rexage is like a body. I don't know. Sin Collector seems pretty bad as well. I think
they're
just on the same exact list here, right? Mostly. I think it's actually the exact same.
No, there's a couple of changes. I noticed Steve has a different number of Direfleet Daredevils.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So Charles has 2 Damping Spheres.
Yep.
Where
Steve has
an additional Direfleet and additional Sin Collector in those spots.
Right, and it's interesting to me that Steve doesn't have Dampen Sphere, because I've kind of been seeing that pop up in the humans list. So either Steve is a little behind the times, which wouldn't surprise me, because like I said, he just kind of like preps for a tournament and then
shows up and plays. Yeah.
Or he has tested it and he's decided that it's just not very good.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, there's no Necromancers in either of these decks, and I don't believe who do we watch play humans earlier.
Oh,
Schroeder, Josh Schroeder.
Tyler
Schroeder. Excuse me, Tyler Schroeder.
Yeah, he
didn't have any either.
Yep.
So no Necromancers in any of these decks. I don't know if that's a concession to anything one way or another. I've always thought that card was pretty impressive, but 0 copies of today in any of the 3 humans decks we've seen.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely good. I don't know how good it is in the mirror though. Yeah,
no Zathrid Necromancers. Huh. That's a card I always thought was pretty good when you're switching gears a little bit. I don't know. Interesting non-inclusion.
I don't know. I've always just thought 3 mana for a 2/2, unless you're like worried about board wipes, it's not enough. I mean, I realize you get to trade and then still get a zombie, but
all right, these guys are shuffling up, getting ready for game number 2. Steve Locke won pretty convincingly game 1, so
yep.
See, Charles gets to be on the play. Steve was on the play that game as well, which seems fairly important, especially with Aether Vials. So let's see what happens here. This guy's on a nice run to start, though. 3-0 in a 7-round tournament. So
yep.
Somebody going to pick up a 4-0 here and be just, maybe a win maybe away from the top 8.
Charles being on the play is definitely going to have the advantage. Again, we'll kind of see whether Vial comes into play or not. And I'm also curious on how much mulliganing? Are you just keeping lands and spells? Are you looking for key cards?
Yeah, are there specifics here? Man, Steve's hand looks real good. I thought he had 1, 2, 3. I think he has Champion, Meddling Mage, Reflector Mage.
Yeah, I see the Reflector Mage for sure.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Charles is off to the races.
It's a good start.
Boom.
Yep. Okay. So now it's kind of up to Charles to have a 1-drop to put in.
The gut shots, man.
Yeah.
I think the gut shots are good enough.
I think you're right. Doesn't surprise me.
Well, Charles is going to go down to 18 from that gut shot since Phyrexian spells are totally fair and balanced.
Yep.
All right. Charles going to get started. Another Aether Vial. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the second one's not as good.
No second land either. Nothing on turn 1. Another champion. We have another gut shot. That'd be hilarious. Doesn't look like it. All right, well. I mean, this is good for Charles if he has no mana. I mean, he has all business in hand.
Right.
So, I mean, double Aether Vial is good certainly in this hand. You find another one.
He did pick up another one.
Naming humans again, I assume. So he has a Reflector Mage. I think that's a Meddling Mage. And a Phantasmal Image.
Yeah, I see those 3 cards for sure.
What do we got?
Values Lieutenant. Interesting.
Oh, man.
Usually one you want to play after, and picking up Dismember here is interesting.
Thalos Lieutenant is so embarrassing as a 2-mana 1/1.
Yeah.
It's just so embarrassing.
I mean, it does grow, but you probably don't want all of your power on a single card.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Because of Reflector Mage?
Yep, certainly could buy that. Whoa, Mantis Rider, that's good.
I like it.
So there's a Phantasmal Image in Charles's hand.
Yeah.
All right.
If he plays it out on the Thalia's Lieutenant.
I feel like that's what we're doing here. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's fairly good. He's going to be able to...
One downside to this play is Steve's Reflector Mage can now just like take out the Phantasmal Image. So
yeah.
I wonder if some number of those are supposed to come out too.
The Phantasmal Images?
Yeah.
Could be.
I would think no, but...
So Charles has his own Reflector Mage here. Are you like reflecting this Mantis Rider and like trying to smash in? Is that really your best game plan?
I could see this, if you remember the old Bant Coco mirrors, like I could see this like slowing down quite a bit, and both players are just like reflectoring maging each other a few times.
The Bant tempo is what I used to jokingly call it.
Yeah. I don't hate it. This is a good attack because with no open mana, I think Steve can't block.
This is another Lieutenant. That's brutal. Oh, that's brutalizing. You jamming the Reflector Mage here too? Or are you just waiting around?
That's a good question.
I mean, this is a humongous attack. Is that 8 right there? Down to 12?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Well, now there's a little bit of now there's a little bit of pressure.
I think Steve's in really bad shape here. Because this Reflector Mage is going to... It potentially is going to... So Steve has choices. He can either Mage or Rider.
Does he have a land, though? Because if he has a land, this is actually really good for him. He Reflector Mages the huge Thalia's Lieutenant.
With the Dismember?
And then the Dismember can kill a Phantasmal Image.
Okay. I mean, he has to pay 4 life, though, for it.
Yeah.
It's not a real... That's a real cost.
It is a real cost. Alternatively, he could go for the Phantasmal Image here and then dismember the Thalia's Lieutenant and block with the Reflector Mage, but that's really risky.
He's in a lot of trouble, though, because Charles does have... he has a Vial on 3, and he has his Reflector Mage in hand, so this is pretty risky. I think Steve's hands are kind of tied at this point, though. Yeah, I think this is fine.
So here comes the Reflector Mage.
Yep. Grows both of those.
Yep.
Boy, that's lots.
Steve can dismember the Thalia's Lieutenant, which is probably worthwhile.
Yeah, I think you have to kill the 5/5 currently.
Right.
So that's going to put him to 8, though, which is pretty ominous.
Right, but Mantis Rider holds back quite a bit.
So Steve down to 8. And now... So that Thalia's Lieutenant should have a counter on it. Yep.
Yep.
Got that.
Yep. We haven't got quite there. And so...
Bouncing the Mantis Rider?
I would assume...
Or the champion.
Ooh,
Okay.
wow.
So take 3. 12 to 8, we have a race. We have an old-fashioned race in our hands.
But I'm favoring the player with the 2 Mantis Riders.
Yeah, I would say.
There isn't a great attack
Wow. Does he have
from Charles here. He has a Meddling Mage that can grow the Thalia's Lieutenant.
So the Meddling Mage can name the Mantis Rider, or the
Champion of the
the
Parish.
champion of the parish that's in hand. But what's his last card? Has to be good. Otherwise, he's in a lot of trouble. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Another Mantis Rider?
And he can play the Champion of the Parish this turn. So
Yes, he can.
what are we... So Resto Angel is probably on Steve's radar?
Yeah, if Charles is pushing it up to 4, I mean, it's not... It's not... You know, I think being on 4 and 3 is fine with the 2 lands in play. You can still cast all of your things.
Are you beating Resto Angel? I think that's what Steve's is kind of like analyzing.
I don't think so.
And this is a 2-turn clock, so...
Wow.
And that means he doesn't have it. Now you know.
He's got another snake in hand.
Okay, Steve chooses not to deploy the Champion of Parish. Okay.
What?
Whoa. Steve with the reads. He's like, I got this champion. I don't want to die as a static
Yeah.
caster.
I guess so.
I assume Steve just didn't realize. But yeah, just
Well, Charles Martin gets
wow.
wrapped up by some flying snakes there.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Wow. That was yeah, so Steve Locke just came out of the gates flying hot in the first game, and then second game, you know, the game slowed down to a point. He was able to take one of the things down. He was take a giant Thalia's Lieutenant down with a Dismember.
Right.
Able to get rid of a potentially giant Phantasmal image.
And that was like a key draw.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that Dismember, I think that Thalia's Lieutenant potentially runs away with the game. I mean, Mantis Rider's definitely a quick clock, but that Thalia's Lieutenant with that trigger on the sec was about to be huge.
Yeah, I feel like in this matchup, the biggest, if you don't have evasion threats like the Mantis Riders, whoever has the biggest creature is probably just in the best shape because you can just keep attacking in, and whittling down their guys. So, yeah, killing the 5/5 with a Dismember was humongous.